Lindsay, as a colleague that I know well, you've been sitting there at that results centre from the very early hours. How are you doing?
Annika, all good. That results centre has now shut down. We were literally the last people to leave. We were still outside those doors yesterday after it closed down. So I'm just out in the city that the DA, as you said, celebrating, holding on to its flagship metro here, down but not out. But they will have a lot of work to do, Annika, to retain and to grow the support in the outlying areas that they had been working on for so many years, to be in control of those councils, and now they've just witnessed declining support. So it's a little bit of both. We don't have the metro declared officially yet, but it goes without saying that it will remain under the rule of the Blue Party, not that major majority they got in 2016, but certainly enough to get the youngest mayor since the formation of the Unicity in 2000, who we expect to be sworn in about 2 weeks' time, Annika. And he, before that results centre shut down last night, promising to breathe new life into the Cape Town Metro.
The eNCA has admitted that it did not perform well in the province, but this is not something new. I mean, when we see them campaigning, they seem to do a last-minute push, but they almost seem to not have an appetite to come and grab the Western Cape.
Well, a short while ago, they did put out a statement, Annika, and they're not spending too much time licking their wounds while they acknowledge their defeat here in the city at the moment, barely, not even reaching 20%. And even in their strongholds, which are the informal settlements and the townships of Cape Town, they're putting down that loss, Annika, to poor voter turnout. As I say, we don't have an official figure yet. Yesterday, it was estimated at around 50% turnout here in the metro. But what they're rather doing is celebrating a number of wards that they've taken from the DA in those outlying municipalities where the DA support has been lost. And they're not wasting any time. We know that this is the only province also, Annika, where the DA doesn't have a stable provincial leadership. It's been for some time under the governance of an interim working committee. They have conveners and head of elections, but they don't have a stable leadership, and maybe we need to look at what impact that may have had on their poor performance. But they say they are already this hour, Annika, already starting to talk to possible coalition partners in those outlying municipalities so that they can keep the DA at bay, even where the DA has attained a majority, but not enough to put them in firm control of those municipalities. So they say a report is due imminent, where they would have assessed their poor performance in the province, but they're already looking ahead to where they can possibly go into governance with other parties elsewhere in the Western Cape, Annika.
Lindsay, before you go, the Good Party, Patricia de Lille's Good Party, there were posters up. They seem to be quite prominent in their campaigning. How did they do? Have you spoken to Patricia de Lille?
Patricia de Lille, last we checked, was still up in Pretoria, Annika, but Brett Herron, the mayoral candidate, has been very active at the results centre over the last 3 days, crunching the numbers here in the Western Cape, where they have done fairly well as a newcomer. Well, that's if we look at the Good Party as a newcomer, because we know Patricia de Lille has a long history in this province, in her hometown of Beaufort West, and also several communities here across Cape Town where her independent Democrats in 2006 helped the DA come to power. And it is in those wards where there has been a measure of success, although I should point out, Annika, they haven't managed, as far as we can tell at this time, to take any of those wards from the DA, but certainly running in a second place to the DA. And so they are expected to get a number of seats in the City Council, and the DA will now have to work with new opposition parties like Good, like the Cape Coloured Congress, Congress, who will now, for the first time, make inroads into the City Council. So those opposition parties, the smaller ones we know in the city of Cape Town, who previously had a single seat or just a handful of seats, and the DA know well, they're now going to have to work with new opposition partners who come with new agendas that they want to see improvement where they feel the DA has failed poorer and in specific coloured communities in Cape Town. Annika.
All right, thank you so much. Lindsay Dentlinger there in Cape Town.